afternoon, everybody from Los Angeles. We are still holding for two people. Okay. We will give them just a minute to log in. If they're not able to, we will continue with the panel. The panel is on banking and offshore investment fund management. As of now, participants are Ivanov, David Doss, and Carl Seelig, with me moderating. So we will start the panel for now. And as people log in, we will add them in. So let me welcome everybody to this panel. It's a very interesting discussion. I think we will have some fun in understanding different viewpoints. So may I start with Ivan? And Ivan, could you please introduce yourself? And then we will take David and then Carl.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ivan Ivanov, and I'm Director of Retail Banking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yes, hi. My name is Ivan Ivanov, and I'm Director of Retail Banking in Bulgarian American Credit Bank. I have 17 years of experience in retail banking, lending, product and process development, and also business development. And I'm really happy to be here with you today.
Excellent. Thank you. David.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Doss. I'm one of the founders of CKC, which is a crypto fund under Trinity LX's segregated portfolio company structure. My background is in marketing, strategy, and operations for around the last 13 years for startups and fintech organizations. Most particularly blockchain and cryptocurrency companies. I've worked on blockchain and crypto projects with a number of top projects, including Gibril, which was a top 50 ICO, Energy, which reached top 100 on CoinMarketCap rankings, and Citibank. And I've been involved in the blockchain and crypto space specifically for 5 years.
Terrific. Thank you. Carl.
Thank you very much, Anand. I am from Trinity LX. We are the company which provided David with a virtual fund in the Cayman Islands. And we provide basically a quick fund setup for companies. If you make them a segregated portfolio companies, the companies have options to buy the fund from us. And we basically handle for them regulations and all the compliance audits and so on. The really interesting part of our company is that we have a full-blown due diligence company, which also helps companies in their investments decisions by evaluating every project when a VC fund wants to invest.
Terrific. Thank you. Ivan, coming to you. What are your thoughts on offshore investment fund management as a function of attracting investors?
Well, today the people are searching for a lot of various ways to invest. As you know, the interest rates in the banks are zero and even negative in some points. So there is a lot of potential for the people to find ways to invest their money, especially the people who have access to such offshore investment funds.
Excellent. So when you speak to an investor, do you find resistance that you're offshore, or do you find them to be more welcoming of the fact that you are an offshore fund?
Well, we are not speaking with investors a lot. We are more in retail banking, so we are more in the classical banking products. But what we see is that the clients are lacking possibilities of investments, and they're searching for ways to improve the way the money works for them.
On the retail banking side of it, are you encouraging your retail clients to invest in offshore funds? Is that something that you find to be of interest to them?
Well, in Bulgaria, it is not so widely spread. So Bulgarian as clients are, let's say, a little bit more conservative, and they prefer to invest in, for example, real estate and stuff like this. But what we see is that people are getting more and more open for various opportunities, and for sure, offshore investing will be one of them in the near future.
Okay, switching to David. David, give us your perspective on how your experience has been with offshore funds.
Yeah, so probably the simplest way to at least start explaining that is with a bit of a story, bit of background. So I have a pretty international background. I've lived in 5 different countries. I've traveled to 55 plus, and everywhere I go, I see people connecting with each other person to person. But then I also see systems not working in country to country, continent to continent. All of this. What got me interested in blockchain and financial technology is largely that ability, transformative ability of the technology and the asset class on an international kind of level. And specifically, one realization I had working at Citibank is that the US is way behind a lot of the world in its fintech adoption. It's technologically speaking, but also regulatory speaking, its ability to productively govern that adoption is significantly behind other countries. So when we look for a place that has the friendly approach to technology, the nimble kind of agile response, both on an adoption level and a regulatory level, one thing that I was finding in the course of my involvement with blockchain and crypto is that Cayman really is kind of one of those neutral territories that can offer that. And so that was what was really attractive to us, is the ability to actually have to execute on an international global vision for a blockchain fund. And on a more practical level, what that also means is that there's a wider range of crypto investments that our fund in Cayman can access compared to a lot of investment funds in crypto in the United States, given the regulatory uncertainties in the United States.
So continuing with that thought, Carl, as you facilitate these funds, you have access to a large group of investors from all around the world that look at Chain BLX to find the right investment. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, a lot of investors are looking to us to help them. Our process is that everyone who has a virtual fund by us manage the fund. They are fully in control of the fund, but we assist in evaluating the investments. So when a company or an investor finds a product which he is interested, our due diligence team goes through this. And this is basically the core principle that there is, when you invest in Cayman Island, that you have 3 controls. First, in the United States, hedge funds don't have to be audited. In the Cayman Island, you have to have an audit. So this is security. You are registered with the Cayman Island Monetary Authorization. Then it becomes an additional layer of security, which is that our team controls that the companies where it will be invested are safe. This is from background checks to from the team, criminal record checks, and also most of all the experience, and then the global market analysis if the company makes sense to invest. And it's always better to have 2 eyes on a project by evaluating. The final call, if the investment will be done, is of course by the fund manager.
Excellent. Let me welcome Catherine Chen. Catherine is with ActiveX. Catherine, if you are able to, if you could give us a brief introduction to yourself and especially to your offshore entities, that would be amazing. Catherine, are you muted? In the meantime, Ivan, let me go back to you on your technology approach and your approach to retail. How do you see crypto banking and those solutions as a function for your continued growth? Do you consider crypto a essential portion, or even if you were to look at just from the ledger side of it, are you adopting that process?
Well, the cryptos are not well allowed as an official product in the Bulgarian banks. There are some ways for the Bulgarians to invest in cryptocurrencies through some fintechs that are present on the Bulgarian market. But what I can see, speaking with clients, with friends, is that there are a lot of people interested in crypto. A lot of people are making investments in crypto. Well, it depends on the amount of money they put in it. What I advise all of them to do is to start small with something that is not something that they really understand. This is as far as it goes to investments. As a payment method, I think with the central bank digital currencies in front of us, there are a lot of banks developing them right now. So for sure, digital currencies and cryptocurrencies will be a substantial part of our future and of payments.
Excellent. David, coming back to you, what are your thoughts on the investment that you see into crypto as a fund itself that's investing into crypto technology? So let's now flip that script and say you have a fund that's looking to go into investments. How do you best attract investment into your fund? What is your uniqueness?
So there are a number of aspects. One of them, I would say, is that overall offshore structure. We find not just to be in line with our vision and goals, but also something that really provides an advantage, and specifically a segregated portfolio company structure. Kind of to echo a little bit of what Carl had mentioned. I mean, he talked about having 2 sets of eyes, but really it's maybe more like 3 or 4 sets of eyes, of having, the auditors and accredited experts and all of this additional oversight. So that's one advantage. Another of the Cayman structure that we've chosen to go with is that we are restricted on our use of high risk futures, which ultimately, given that blockchain and crypto is already a fairly high risk, high reward asset class, we find has put many of our investors at more ease, that we're really focused on driving value for them in a way that is perhaps more secure than many others out there. Additionally, the Cayman structure that we're under would allow us to basically eventually go public as a fund, or at least get listed within the Cayman Islands, which is something that is unusual or almost even unheard of for smaller investment funds in the United States. So that's one kind of general area there. And then beyond that would be certainly our performance track record. We've managed to outperform a Bitcoin only investment by up to around 9x. So if you'd put $100 into Bitcoin 5 years ago, you'd have around $5,000. Obviously, the price is fluctuating these days. If you put it into our fund, you'd have closer to about $45,000. And then beyond that, another aspect that we found our investors really appreciate is the basically our agility and customization that we can offer, which again is in large part due to how we've decided to structure in Cayman. So not only can someone invest directly into the main fund, but there's also an ability to set up what we call sidecars or joint ventures, where it has our management, our kind of economies of scale of setting up the legal, the infrastructure, the technology, the trading resources can be set up much more quickly and easily, but in a separate container. So it's kind of compared to, say, flying in a scheduled flight versus chartering a jet and a pilot to fly private.
Terrific. Carl, coming back to you, ChainBLX has some interesting features that you didn't touch upon. From what I understand, you are able to tokenize it and protect the investor so that if one fund is not to their liking, they can trade out into different funds. Can you speak a little bit more about the back end of ChainBLX?
Okay, thank you. Normally, we don't reveal that we use token as a database, as most people believe when we go internally, that tokenization, Ivan will probably see it like most banks are afraid when you speak about tokens and so on. But when you use it right, for the right purpose, in the right moment, it's just used like SQL database. It's just as used to give security. This said, what we are doing is when somebody, for example, invests in fund A, and normally he has an investment horizon from 10 years. The fund has a lockup period from 5 years. Somebody is at the end of the period of the lockup period and would like to get out earlier. And another person wants to stay longer in the fund. Now we have an internal possibility for the investors between the different segregated portfolios to trade their shares. This gives them additional liquidity. So a person which wants probably to stay in for another 5 years would buy for a discount shares from the fund which somebody just bought, but decided that he wants to get out of the fund because life situation changed. There is a lot of reason, which some tragic reason, probably you got cancer, you know that you only have a year to live, you don't want to have your investment for the next 5-year bound, so you would like to liquidate it. And this is normally by hedge funds quite difficult, because the hedge fund manager's job is to attract capital and to manage it good. They are not really interested in coming in to help clients which are in the hedge fund to find another buyer, because they would like to raise another round of money instead of helping somebody to sell the shares. This is customer service, which they have to do, but we do it much more efficient for the funds. Also, we allow for diversification. When somebody is invested in one fund, but want to invest, for example, is invested in cryptocurrencies, but wants also to invest in real estate, he can change with somebody who is overexposed in real estate to, and they can trade internally on our platform, the funds.
Terrific. So from my understanding, then you're offering protection to both the fund manager as well as to the investor, where you're providing the eyes to the investor, you're providing guidance and audit and all these functions, but also providing the flexibility that you normally wouldn't have as an investor or as a fund. So that seems very interesting. Go ahead.
It has to be said that everyone has to be an accredited investor. There is holding periods which have to be respected, but the possibility is because it's all under one umbrella, ChainBLX, so that these trades are possible.
That's wonderful. Ivan, coming back to you, when you look at retail banking and banking in general, what are your thoughts on offshore banking from where you are into different countries? Are you looking to expand into different countries with your bank, or is it something that you stay local for now?
Yes, the strategy of the bank is to stay local now, and also this is the way we we work with our clients. We offer them mostly products that are for the Bulgarian market in terms of deposits, loans, and stuff like this. When we speak about investments, there are a lot of products on the market. They are not actually investment funds, but for example, there are a lot of insurance policies that are with some type of saving part. So you can invest in various international markets, and at the same time you can have well coverage of your life, and that way if something happens to you during the term of the policy, you get insurance coverage. If everything is okay, you act as an investment portfolio for yourself.
Terrific. So
also,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, there are also ways to invest in on the international markets through some investment funds that are selling international investment funds. So there are a lot of possibilities.
That's terrific. So when you look at the larger part of Europe and beyond, what do you see your bank is? Do you think that regulations are your biggest hurdle? Is it because of internal regulations that you don't expand, or is it because of European Union rules, or what is the barrier to you expanding further?
Yes, the European Union regulations for sure are something very strict, and what is expected to happen is that the regulations will become more strict in the near future. For example, because one of our topics is cryptocurrencies, there is a regulation expected for the cryptocurrencies in terms of know your customer, in terms of to know who is behind this investment. So all the regulations are heading to this direction, to be more strict, more and have more visibility of the person who is investing.
Right. That's wonderful. That's certainly a concern for some, as well as a blessing on the other side, because transparency is, of course, very important for your customers. You are conservative, your customers are conservative. You're looking to make sure that their money is safe, and that's where you're headed. Yes. So that's your primary focus as of now.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. David, coming back to you. So tell us a little bit more about your fund and what you think the future holds for you as you see it now.
Yeah, so for those who may be somewhat less familiar with the kind of the crypto fund space, I would categorize really 5 different types of crypto funds. So you have more kind of the quant funds. It's very kind of more mathematical, high frequency, all of that. Then more the technical and fundamental trading funds. You have the yield funds, which are basically generating crypto on top of your crypto through structures like staking or lending or all these types of things. You have then also your token funds, which are basically creating underlying positions in often more kind of low to medium cap tokens as a longer term capital appreciation play. And then you have your kind of crypto VC or equity funds of say venture capital funds that are investing into equity positions within blockchain and cryptocurrency companies. So specifically, our background is kind of in the middle 3. So within that 5-year lockup period, we find that is really kind of the sweet spot is in those strategies. So for those who may be somewhat familiar, many experts will argue that Bitcoin and as a result other cryptocurrencies tend to basically have 4-year cycles. So as part of a 5-year lockup period, a 4-year cycle is essentially a good fit for those sorts of strategies, and specifically with an underlying token positions to be able to really to grow those over a 4-year cycle, while also layering in yield strategies on top of that, plus offshore advantaged trading of underlying positions to basically lock in gains. Those are the overall strategies that we focus on. So ultimately, I mean, the crypto market has evolved just unrecognizably in the last 5 years. So, you know, what has bred success even last year, let alone 5 years ago, you know, may not have the same results in the future. So ultimately, we're really just looking forward to staying in the loop of updated evolutions in the cryptocurrency space, acting on them strategically within the existing framework that we already have. But ultimately, I'm really looking forward to greater and greater adoption in the crypto space, because I think that helps, certainly helps our fund. It helps with a number of use cases around the world as well, and really will be better for everybody.
Terrific. So I guess my final question to everybody is, when we look at offshore banking and offshore fund management, what are your thoughts as far as overall, is it an advantage or not so much an advantage? Ivan, I'll start with you.
Yes, I always have thought that the more possibilities you have, it's always an advantage. So I think that's the correct answer for that.
Thank you. David?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of piggybacking on what Ivan said, certainly, I don't think anyone is here to say, you know, only do this or only do that. I think that that offshore investments, including, you know, blockchain and cryptocurrency investments, can be part of a larger, sophisticated portfolio with, you know, that provides more upside, more optionality, all of the above.
Carl?
For me, it is like every business, you have to go where the market is right for you. And we are, for example, in Cayman Island, not for the tax reason. We started in Cayman Island as a segregated portfolio company for legal reasons. The reason is segregated portfolio companies are allowed in America, but to break the veil between one and the other portfolio in America is 50% by litigation. In England and in Cayman Island, there was no case found, to my knowledge, where the segregated portfolio companies, the shield between the portfolios, were broken when they did everything right. So basically, you go where it's right. I have to say, it's not about tax evasion offshore banking. It's about choosing the right environment, having banks which can work with you together, which have APIs, which are friendly to crypto. But it's not a haven where know your client protocol and anti-money laundering protocols are out of the window. No, they're strictly enforced, and we all have to work correctly and good. But some environments are more friendly to produce something, and one is. So it goes back to Adam Smith. Like, do you want to produce wool in Spain and wine in England, or should Spain produce the wine and the wool in England, and we trade, and they all have more? So this is my opinion.
Wonderful. So thank you, gentlemen. I think very interesting, and you've shed a lot of light on the offshore banking and investing strategies. I say thank you again, and we'll turn it over to the next panel.